Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride. Welcome to Leaders Lead the Podcast. Every time I look at that introduction, I get so inspired. But what inspires me the most is the people that come on this show. Today, we got somebody, one of my dear friends, man. I'm so inspired by this guy. He's doing some incredible things, man. He's a doctor. He's a doctor, and he's doing something amazing by making a transition and not only just helping the people that are in the rooms with him, but what he's doing is he's figuring out a way to help the world. He's a speaker too, man. He's freaking killing. He's a doctor. He's a rapper. He does all the cool things, and I'm so excited to introduce him to the viewers, introduce him to the leaders, the listeners, because he has an incredible story. I was so inspired when I first heard about what he went through, right? This story, I want you to get a bunch of stuff. But the main thing that I want you to get is that you never give up. Never give up. You never let your current circumstance determine your outcome for the future. And that's what I get from listening to my brother, DhruvaMD. What's up, brother?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast, brother.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really enjoy listening and learning about your story. The more I learn about you, I like you more. And I didn't even know that was possible. But just, man, a little bit about yourself. I don't want to do an introduction and read off your bio. I like hearing it from the freaking entrepreneur, the leader's mouth, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. You know, I really appreciate you and what you do. It's important to inspire others with our stories, and I believe that vulnerability is authenticity. And the most important part about this journey is that I get to be myself. That's what I really like about this. And you're trying to talk about my story from like beginning.
Yeah, man. Like what do you do? What do you why are you doing what you're doing? What's your background? What's your passion? Man, I just want to learn more about you. Even tell me something that I don't even know about you, man.
Well, my parents immigrated from South India, Bangalore. Are you familiar with where Bangalore is?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, actually I do. Yeah, I've never been there, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, they immigrated here in the 70s. And, I'm going to America. Na medical hook tayo din pa. It's like the biggest thing. There's like the biggest thing in the town. They're like the town folk. Both of my parents were singers on an Indian radio station. And that's how they met. Small town. My dad did all of these things, right? He had to put his land up for auction, and they sold it. And then he had to find people who had money for them so they can immigrate here for me to live the American dream. So it's just very interesting how when I really track back and I really take some time to analyze my history and my what my family has done for me, it's inspiring because you're coming from the depths. You're coming from a place where, everything is a limit. Yeah. Everybody's like, you can't, you should. You can't do this and you should do that. And I believe that's generational. And at least that's one of the main things about my stories. I believe that can't and should. I've exchanged that for I will and I won't quit. So that type of thing.
Oh, I love that. What are some certain things, certain things that happen in your life to where somebody told you you should do this or you can't do that? What are some of those those limitations that were imposed in your life?
Yeah, just to sidetrack and tangent, because I'm really good at that, is that, limitations are just so self-limiting beliefs, and what people place on you is so prevailing and so pervasive. And it's so easy to just listen to somebody. and tracking back to when I was young, I mean, I grew up in a very abusive household. My mom had schizophrenia. My brother was gay and he was trying to find himself. My dad was gay and he just was displacing all of his fear on everybody else. So, growing up is like, it's all loud. Something is happening all the time. So the CPS is at the house. I'm at a domestic violence shelter. APS is being called. It was always happening. And, my parents both.
What's APS? I know what CPS is. What's APS?
APS is Adult Protective Services.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, Adult Protective Services, Child Protective Services, for those who are not, within the United States. So, all of these resources were being utilized by these immigrants, and my dad was to sum it up, he had narcissistic personality disorder. The unfortunate part about him is he had no insight into what he was doing. And that's what the personality disorder, you just displace your fears and you transcend whatever disbeliefs or beliefs that you have, limits that you have to everybody else. Imagine, at the age of 2 months, 3 months, having these limits placed on you, how hard is that? So these limits are placed on you. And to just notate is that social and emotional development take place from 2 years to 3 years. And it's emotional intelligence and attachment patterns. And when you grow up with a chief primary caregiver who is a prototypical narcissist. Unfortunately, my mom is not all there because she's schizophrenic. This is a social and emotional development pattern you develop as an adult. So, you're trying to work through these things, but you don't even know you're working through these things. And, what happens is that I was bullied in school and then I decided to bully people and, I became a gangster. One half a year I was a Crip. The other half a year I was a Blood. In the whole melee, I went to jail 3 times and I was arrested multiple times. Kind of like, you were too, where I think we connect in those ways. And, it's, God's grace, whoever it was, greater plan, greater good, your purpose, all of these were imposed on me by my creator at 17. And then they sent me to India. And then.
Oh, wow. So you was getting in trouble so much, they sent you to another country.
Yeah, there's you're gone, dude. My family came and the story goes like this is that my family was in India. My dad was there and he was sitting on the ground and his sister came up. And this is my 3rd time in jail, I think. I mean, luckily I was a juvenile, so I never done anything as an adult. But, these were things that little things like stealing stealing jeans, stuff like that, joyriding. That's kind of what had happened. It was one of those times. And the story goes is that my aunt, we were eating this afternoon lunch, very big thing in India to eat lunch in the afternoon and take a nap. So that's what my dad was planning on doing. And my aunt takes rice and sambar, it's all with your hands, and throws it in his face. He was like, what are you doing sitting here eating while your son is in jail in Seattle? So he was like, go get him. So that whole thing started. So that's when I moved to India.
Wow.
When I was 17.
Wow. What was it like when you went to India? Because your parents had already immigrated. They had already were you born in India?
I was born in Juneau, so I probably should have mentioned that.
So were you familiar with India when you went there? You were already, it wasn't like you went to a foreign land or nothing, right?
Oh man, it was a foreign land. Yeah, I still can remember. I ain't never done acid or drugs like that, but that's what that must be like. It must be like that. It's everybody's there. It's people are everywhere, man. They're everywhere. This is no place where not people. Somebody's screaming, somebody's honking, somebody's trying to get money from you. It's just something is just happening every millisecond. It's right when I got out of the airport, I could still, and each time I go to India, I have that acid trip. It's what is going on here? There's so much. It's so busy. All you guys are so busy. And there's so many of you. It's everybody.
Damn, so it's that different. It's that different there, huh?
That's hella different, yeah. I was born in Juneau and I moved to Seattle when I was 7 when my parents divorced. And at 17, I moved to India. So that's kind of the timeline there.
Okay. Wow. Do you feel like when you went there, was there a change in you by changing your environment?
Yeah, of course. I believe that there definitely was a change.
Ooh, I love that because there's a lot of times where I've had some friends and I've knew some people throughout my life where, dude, they would constantly move, but then would move because they wanted to have some change in their life. And I know some adults right now, they move to this place, they move to that place, they move to this place, they move to that place. And I've been that adult for a period of time, but I was in the military at the time. But they will move their body, but they won't move their mind. And that's what I was curious, when you moved across all these different oceans, did your mind change too? And what was that process like?
Interestingly enough, the mindset was the same, but the process definitely was different. I mean, the process was choiceless, right? Like what happened was that I went to India to stay there for, they said for like a month or two, and they're like, all right, fine, So then they took my passport away, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'm ready to go back to Seattle. We're good. I'm rehabilitated. Let's go. And they're like, I remember my grandma and my aunt, they started laughing at me. They're like, man, you're here to stay. Like, you're not going anywhere. I was like, no, give me my passport. They're like, all right, fine, here's your passport. And I'm like, I need some money to go back too. At the end of the day, I was like, all right, fine. I realized that I was stuck, and I'm like, I'm going to make the most of it. And, I wanted to, and my mind did move. Yeah, that's interesting how you say that. Yeah, my mind was the same though. My mind was the same and my body moved. And it's interesting how my mind was the same, because when I was here and I was in high school, I wanted to be the most popular. I want to have the most, the hottest girls, right? I wanted to be, if I was a Crip, I wanted to dress all blue, I wanted to look the best. I wanted to make sure I had a red belt hanging down. I'm the one who wanted to get caught doing things. Like, I wanted to be the most popular. Well, that mindset also transferred to India. And in India, to be popular, you don't wear red, you don't wear blue. You're not even, bro, you're like in like your girls and boys class. There's not even, you can't even have a girlfriend. You can't even look at them.
Really?
You can't, you're not in the same class with them. Yeah, so then what happens, right, is that I'm like, all right, fine. How do I be popular in this small town in India? Oh, okay, so everybody's studying. So they're come up to college, not like, what are you wearing? What kind of pager do you have? Or, who did you make out with last night? No, it's like, what did you study yesterday? What score did you get? And what are you studying now? And I'm like, all right, fine. So I'm just fitting in and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing. Like, I didn't know what was going on, man. I mean, I didn't know the table of elements. I didn't know how to carry over a fraction at that time. I knew nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew nothing. But I'm like, all right, fine. I want to be the most popular kid in the school. In order to be popular, you had to study. And what happened was I got an aggregate of physics, chemistry, biology, math, and that's an aggregate in India in undergrad. I got 88% in that. I went for med. I didn't know the table of elements. And I scored this, and I got 7 scholarships into med school because of that. It's like you could transcend from like going to jail, I'm like, I want to be the best. I want to be the most popular kid in school. That's my mindset. I want to be the most popular kid in college. I don't care what happens after that. I didn't care what happened. I just wanted to get the best result. I wanted the result, the outcome. Time. Exactly. So the result was I wanted to be a cool kid on the street. The outcome was jail. The result is I wanted to be the most popular kid in college, and the result was scholarships into med school. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting how the mindset, the mindset was gangster, man. It's like,
it is gangster, man, because it sounds like your life was saved, because if you would have kept going, and it's just me guessing, I don't know everything, but I would only imagine, you breaking into cars, set tripping, a Crip one day, a blood one day, and you're doing this stuff so that you can get the street cred, so that you can, it sounds like in a sense, feel some type of whole, and your environment changed. Therefore, the cool kids are the kids that study and learn, and you dug deep into that, and then you ended up getting a whole bunch of scholarships instead of being buried 6 feet under or headed to what we call where I'm from, going to college, right? Going to college is going to prison, but you didn't end up going to prison and doing your life. You ended up changing your life and doing something amazing. So what was that process like, from getting the scholarships, and how did that feel? Did something change in you to not necessarily make it about the external, but more on the inside and doing good instead of for the credibility? Because I was there too. I did some really stupid stuff as a teenager just so that people can say, oh man, Anthony, man, that dude is so badass. I don't want to mess with him. But that was because I was insecure. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, totally. No, it was all blanket statements, right? Low self-esteem, low confidence, self-hatred. It just keeps on going. Yeah, that's all of it was. And I didn't do it for myself at the time. I didn't do it for myself. I wanted to just prove, okay, so you bring me to India. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. Like, dude, I never knew I was going to be a doctor, man. I was like, whatever, you know? I was like, whatever. I just want to win. And, you know, like, when I was a teenager, you know, and like tracking back to what you're talking about, I mean, is dead or in jail? I was 100%. There was no other way out, because you know how many guys that I know that went to prison. Deepak, you know, rest in peace. He got stabbed to death in his backyard. These are guys that I was hanging out with, you know. Yeah, and then Josh, so Deepak Sharma, he died. He got stabbed to death. Just like maybe a couple months after I left, 2 years after I left, Josh Morgan was killed by the cops. He's hit over in the head in baton when he was punching some cops when he was like having an episode, and he died. He died in that incident. And these guys are not friends. These guys are like brothers who I grew up with. You know, wow. Yeah, you know, it was all en route. So like I said, you know, it's like my creator just took me out from there. And to make that long question and to answer like what it was like to transition from that, I remember my dad sitting down, and he never was really nice to me ever. But this one time he was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's like going to be hard. It's going to take a long time." I'm like, man, I had no idea what was in store for me. Like, I didn't know about no 5.5 years in med school. I didn't understand residency. You know, I didn't know I had to take all these exams. I'm like, just kind of doing what's in front of me, you know? And then I remember thinking about, I'm like, man, I think I did a lot of wrong by people. I think I hurt a lot of people. I troubled a lot of parents and stuff. Maybe I can do something if I'm a doctor. I can probably give back. And that's the one reason why I went into medicine. It's not like I wanted to be a doctor since I was a kid or nothing. It was like, maybe I can do something with this. And the second thing that really happened at that one event is my dad said that to me, and he said it was hard. And the second thing was like, it was a ranking system in India. So this is like, you know, I'm paraphrasing some things, but there's a ranking system, and there's this test called the CET, Common Entrance Test, maybe something equivalent to the MCAT.
Okay.
But that's the easiest way I can say it. But MCAT is medical college. This is also engineering and dentistry as well. So when you take the common entrance test, you're doing it to, it's a ranking system for engineering, medical, and dental. Medical is the most sought after, and then it would be dental, and then engineering at the time. Now it's more software, right? So before then it was more dentistry and some electric and civil engineering, more mechanical engineering. And what happened was there's about 150K people who took this test. And being in Bangalore is very sought after. People want to come to Bangalore. You know, it's a tech city. It's up and coming. Everybody speaks English there. So people want to come to Bangalore. That's where the test was. That's where I took the test. And man, I didn't care what happened. I was like, dude, I'm just going to study. I'm going to go take this test. And out of like 150K, I ranked 3272. So I ranked 3,272 out of these people. And what happens is that, you know, the first rank, second rank, third rank, if they take one rank takes medicine, then that second rank is taken up for engineering. So as an example, if the
so you get placed based on the test.
Yeah. Based on the score. Okay. It's based on the score and the ranking. Like my ranking was 3272, which is a super thug ranking, man. Like I would never imagine that. Like what happens is that in the first, though, as an example, if the person who got rank number 1 chose medicine, then rank number 2 would have the first dibs on engineering. And then if they chose engineering, then rank number 3 would have the first dibs on dental. And then it keeps on going on like that. So medicine was like kind of gone, man, at the time that I went. It wasn't gone, but I still got 7 scholarships into medical school. I might have gotten like 20 scholarships into like dental, and like, can't even count, like maybe 40 or 50 into engineering. These are like full rides, you know?
Wow.
But to be honest with you, they're not like the top ranking colleges. But who cares, man? I'm a doctor now. Nobody cares about what college I went to. Kind of they do, right. But they really don't. It's like when I'm seeing patients, like, what school did you go to? No, they're like, you're a doctor now, you know? So, no, man. That's it. And then what happened was my mindset completely changed then. Because my dad said, what makes you think that you're better than these other doctors? Because you didn't get number 1. And that rode with me. Like, I'm like, I got something to prove now. And I've been, that also altered my mind. And it still alters my mind today.
I was just going to ask you, you still hear that, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. It doesn't mean as much to me today. You know, it's not as abrasive, or it's not as, you know, what people might call narcissistic. I want to be number one. So yeah, it's more just
hear
like,
you, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was told when I was a kid, I was told not only was I not gonna graduate from middle school, but I was told by my counselor that I was going to be a failure and I probably wasn't going to graduate from high school. And I hear that voice. I hear that voice when, you know, I was getting ready to graduate from college. I heard that voice when I was getting ready to graduate from the Marine Corps. I heard that voice. Graduate from the Fire Academy. I heard that voice. And it's almost like that chip on my shoulder. It appears when I'm doing something monumental for the moment. And it just pushes me and it drives me. And I was wondering if that pushes you at all still.
It does, man. And you know, it's implicit, right? A lot of it's implicit. Explicitly, I'm saying to you, you know what, this happened and this is how I feel. What happened was my dad put that limit on me and he said that I'm not good enough. But I tell people I'm good enough. So what that is it's very important to distinguish between implicit and explicit memory. Implicit memory is what's ingrained in you. You can't really, you can understand it by being mindful, like being in the practice of mindfulness. But you can explicitly say, oh, you know what? I'm fine. I'm okay. You know what? No, he said that to me. I don't care. No, I do care, like a lot, actually. Thanks for asking. I care a lot that he said that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break it down into little pieces and I'm going to understand what my implicit bias is. What is my implicit memory saying? And let me chop it up, throw what I don't want to the side and take advantage of everything else. So that's what I would consider trauma. It was traumatic. My dad said that. I'm not good enough. No, that's not true. Let me just inspire from that now. Let me chop it up, take everything away, throw all the stems away, right? And then let me reorganize my implicit memory with respect to that one event. And I'm going to just utilize it to my advantage. No.
Wow. You're a smart dude. You know that?
Thanks, so, man. No, man, I'm doing God's work, you know, to be honest with you. Like, sometimes I wish it was just a picket fence and all that good stuff. You know, sometimes I wish, but you know, there's something more out there. There's something that I want to serve a greater purpose on this earth.
Yeah. And I think you're doing that. So you're a doctor, now, and you've been, serving the community as a doctor for how long now?
I've been in practice as an attending. I've been blessed for about 10 years.
10 years, a whole decade.
10 years I've been in practice, but 13 years clinical medicine.
Wow.
Over that.
Wow. So how does it feel, man, to know that you had some friends that you grew up with? Sounds like a lot of them have since left this earth, maybe some in prison. How does it feel, man, that you are, what many would consider as the top echelon of the world when it comes to professions? Yeah,
no, it feels great. Yeah, it feels great. It's nothing that I expected. It's not everything I expected. It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. It feels good, especially when I came out of residency. You know, I mean, at that time, when I came out of residency in 2012, you're looking at a guy who's like, I'm the greatest. And what do I mean when I'm the greatest? I'm the greatest means I'm overconfident. I'm overzealous. I'm, obnoxious, self-absorbed. I'm like, I came from this and I'm a doctor. And then you got everybody else saying that because I'm from Renton, right? And God bless my friends, man. I'm still friends with those guys. I'm still friends with the guys that I knew from when I was in third grade, in middle school and in high school. Those are like my core group of friends. And, when I come back and they're like, you did this, I can't believe you did that. And I'm slowly starting to like understand it, because I'm like, wait a second, there's like money involved in this. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't understand any of this. Like, to be honest with you, what happened was that when I got this, you get a sign-on bonus. And when I got a sign-on bonus, they told me I was going to get a certain amount. And then it came 30% more when I got it. And I called HR and I'm like, hey, look, you guys gave me like this much more. I don't want to pay taxes on it. Why did you do that? It was an accident. Like, I swear to God, I did that. And then a couple weeks later, just before I cashed the check in, I was like, because it was a check. And before I cashed that in, I called them again. maybe like 5 days, something later, I was like, are you guys sure about this? I didn't know that this type of money, I didn't know that I was get paid like this, to be honest with you. I just was doing what was in front of me.
Wow. That's so inspiring.
The outcomes are bestowed. Like, I think everybody needs to remember that I don't think we should be looking for outcomes. I think we should have something like an inner desire to do something great. And that could be anything, it could be like saying, okay, I'm sorry, that you're going through this to my neighbor, and then they're crying on my shoulder. The outcome is that I might get dessert at their place. That's the outcome. Yeah. The result is that I'm doing this as a greater purpose. There's no outcome though. And the result was that I just wanted to top my class in med school, whatever, and then the outcome was that I get this bonus that I was never expecting. So, so all of that was there, right? And what I understood is how much that boy was hurting at that age. I mean, overconfident, overzealous, obnoxious, saying things that I wish I didn't say, doing things that I wish I didn't do. All was because I had, my self-esteem was so low, my confidence levels were so shot, and I was in such disbelief of myself that I needed to do all of these things to compensate for who I thought I needed to be.
Hey, this is Tony Taylor, the host of Leaders Lead the Podcast and also the owner of speakuniversity.org. Let me tell you about our fantastic partners at Holocell Technologies. They are your one-stop shop for IT solutions. When it comes to data security, communications, and privacy, they are on top of the game. Holocell's approach is all about crafting customized white glove solutions that perfectly fit your specific software and use cases, all developed and implemented to the highest absolute standards. It's simple, folks. With Holocell Technologies, you'll get all the data and communication solutions you need without the headache. Give it up to our friends at Holocell Technologies. Wow. That's good. That's good that you said that. And dude, I hope the listeners, man, they're hearing this and they're absorbing it, because I think we all function like that at one point in time in our life. I mean, it was good that you went through that as a young man instead of being a full-blown adult, like really trying to find himself when he's like really, really, really lost. So I really think that this message, your message, is going to impact the world at like great depths, dude. I'm so inspired just to sit here, dude, and talk to you and just hear your story, dude. You could have been robbing me, but now instead of robbing me and being a menace to society, you're giving, and you're a doctor, and you're serving the people. You're learning about yourself. You've gone on the journey of self-discovery. I mean, you want to share a little bit about the actual journey that you've gone on as far as you discovering who you are and the things that you need to be, and like being better? Because I know when people see you, they're probably like, "Oh my God, this dude is a doctor, and you're also a speaker. You're an expert in mindfulness." And they were like, "Oh my, he got it all, man. There's no obstacles that this guy like have to face ever." Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Not at all, man. I cry every day. It's not like I'm bawling, but I cry. I shed tears every day. Sometimes they're like, "Wow, I got Uber Eats today." I'm like, "Wow, who gets to eat this?" And I shed a tear. And then sometimes when I see somebody, I'm looking at somebody who's like using drugs in the street, and I'm like, "Wow, what kind of pain are they experiencing for them to feel like this, and for other people to judge them?" So these are the things that I kind of think about throughout the day now. But to track back to that time, like a boy was really hurt because my dad wasn't a dad. My brother was using, he was using meth. He died 3 years ago. My mom was institutionalized for 27 years, 16 years lockdown, 9 years step down for schizophrenia. I mean, when I saw her one time, like before I was in residency, I remember, and back then you don't really cry, right? Like when you do, you don't talk about it. But when I saw my mom, right? And they had to open the door, and I didn't know my mom until like the last 7 years of her life. And I remember, when I was like 26, I'm 43 now. So when I was 26 at the time, what happened was my brother and my friend, had taken me to the psychiatric facility that my mom was in. It was Creedmoor in Queens. So she was in Creedmoor Psychiatric Facility in Queens. And I could still hear the doors like, opening up, my mom laughing, screaming in the air. And I went and cried, and I'm like, okay, there's something that I need to do here, And that was like my mission. My mission at that time was to do something for her. I mean, I got separated from her when I was 7, and I knew her for a few years when I was a teenager, when I got into trouble. And like, that was it. So I only knew my mom for that period of time. So during that time that I was with her, I was slowly understanding what it is to be like actually her, throughout the time that I was with her. So for now, it was like, had just finished residency. It was like 2012. I just finished residency. Right away, I had taken my mom out of Sabre Goldman House, which is a step-down psychiatric facility. So that was the day I made it. Taking her out of there. And I can still remember my mom's voice. Goodbye, Sabre Goldman. That's it. I'm done. Finish. So she was like, I'm done. She left. And through her, over the years, I understood how much my family was hurt, how much they were hurting, how much everybody was trying to be somebody else. Everybody felt like they were not good enough. And throughout that time is when the journey actually began. Because, nobody had ever really showed me compassion or empathy until my mom did. And my mom really just let me do whatever I wanted, because she was like, I know I never had my son. I'm just going to let him do whatever he wants now. So I learned a lot through her. But one of the big transition points was my ex-wife. And, if she's listening to this, man, God bless her. Thank you for everything. I'll pray to you. I love you for all that you did for me by not listening to me and by saying you're wrong, because at the time, I'm blaming everybody else, right? It's your fault. Wow. Why did you do that? No, you shouldn't have done that. I did this. I'm a doctor. I own a house, and then it just keeps on going on. I've done this. I came from that, and I came from this. You didn't come from that. So this just keeps on circling. And then when we got through a divorce, I'm like, dude, there's something not right up in this house. And then I started rapping about this. And I started rapping about things like, just to sum it up, like self-hatred. I started rapping about that I'm not good enough. I'm trying to be like them. I lied to myself. I was drinking a little too much at the time. Just all kinds of stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, polluting my body with things, not eating right. And I realized I was doing all of these things because I was compensating for this person. I was compensating for, just like this hurt boy. I was like, okay, this is what, if I don't want to deal with like who I am, let me just drink it off. If I don't want to deal with my ex-wife, she said this to me, maybe I'll do that instead. But instead, what I did was I went undercover. I went to Tacoma so no patients wouldn't see me. And then I started going to therapy. And that was in 2016. And I started rapping about each time I came out of therapy. So I'll come out of therapy and then, you'd be like, well, do you think that you might be feeling like you are pleasing somebody? As an example, my therapist said that. And I'm like, no, man, you're tripping, dude. I'm a doctor. I don't need to worry about any of that stuff. But then when I would write about it in a rap song, I would never lie. And I would always be like, I am trying to people please you. That's because I was trying to please my dad and he didn't like me. I'm like, oh crap. Okay, so that's what happened. So I'm trying to please somebody because I'm not pleased with myself. Okay, now I'm getting it. So then it started just kind of turning. And you have to understand that when you rap, and some of the rap wasn't the best, man. Sometimes it was offbeat, it was MP3s. I wasn't recording things right. But some of those are the most rawest raps that I ever had on my sound. It's on my SoundCloud. Yeah. And you could tell how much I was hurting back then. Yeah, and it's like through that time, as I kept on listening to the raps, I slowly started uncovering that a lot of the things that I was doing, it's because I had no clue who I was. Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like you went on a journey of self-discovery, and the therapy helped you. Sounds like you were brave enough to go to therapy. It helped you, and you did the rap. That was a positive way of, and I'm summarizing this just so that I can get it straight. And the rapping was how you cope instead of, drinking or whatever else, people do to cope. So you just kind of discovered yourself. Did I get that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it was discovery through the rap. And that's kind of how it started. Because when you listen to music, especially, when you listen to a song over and over again, think about a song that you really like and listen to over and over again, you start becoming that song kind of. You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
did that. I'm like, this dude is saying these things. That's me. I'm like, that's me. And as soon as flow started cleaning up, and as I started, working with other producers, I'm like, oh, that's me. Who's saying, like, if you don't like me, that makes two of us. Times change and I can't adjust. So like, those are the things that I used to say, to myself, and like, deal with the self-hate. You'll never be great. So these are the things that I used to rap about, so like, and now I rap about self-love. So it's just, the transition is phenomenal. But yeah, to just put that to the side, what happened was I started gaining so much traction within myself that I've been to cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, traditional therapy, and then eye movement desensitization, reprocessing trauma therapy. And I've been going an average of like 2 to 3 times a month for like the last 6 years. So I go regularly. I still go. Like, she's like my coach and my confidant, and I still go. So I've been personally developing myself for about 6 years. And all of that I've done is put that into rap songs. And you can see the boards in the back. Like, I write on the boards, and,
Wow. So you're still working through that stuff. That is, dude, I want to applaud you that that is freaking incredible. That's incredible that you're willing to step up and be such a leader, that you're helping yourself while helping other people, because there's other people that I know in leadership, entrepreneurs or whatever, they hide that, man. They hide that so much that they don't even deal with it.
Yeah. No, man. That's what, it's all incidental. It's so incidental because, when it comes to this, like when it comes to leadership skills for me, like I never wanted to be no leader, man. I don't have a choice. It's like, I don't have a choice. I never really wanted to do, it's not like I don't want to do the things that I'm doing, but I've been blessed with so much financial security, home security, food security. I have anything and everything that I could ever want. And I realized I wasn't fulfilled. It's because I wasn't myself. I wasn't the best version of myself. And today I lead by 2 things. It's very simple. One is that the real you is who you are when nobody's watching. Simple. Yeah. It's all simple now. That's my main leadership skill, is I don't have to trip now. I'm not tripping because the real me is who I am when nobody's watching. If you do, my dishes sometimes aren't like spotless. Okay. So that's the real me, take it or leave it. Sometimes there's some dirt on the sides there, but everything else looks real clean. That's just the real me, So like sometimes I'll take clothes out of the dryer. That's the real me. But if somebody was there, I would change it all up. Now I don't do that. See, I don't curse behind closed doors. I don't talk behind anybody's back. I don't talk behind my back. I don't judge myself. I don't judge other people. I won't come home and say, I can't believe that person did that. Curse them out. I don't do any of that stuff anymore, because the real me is who I am when nobody's watching. Now I hold myself accountable for my community. Yeah. I hold myself accountable for my patients. I hold myself accountable for my community. And that's the leadership skill that I think everybody needs to have.
Wow.
It's
dude,
simple. Yeah. Simplified.
Yeah, dude, I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired by that. And dude, I can't wait to see where you got going, like in the future, man. What's the plan? What is the plan, my brother?
The plan is to empower others, to uncover tools that are within them to be the best version of themselves. I mean, everybody has a passion, everybody has a purpose, everybody has a desire. But here's the trouble with some of these things, is that first there's food security, financial security, and home security. And once these 3 are set, then it's time to personally develop. I think the true success of an individual, I believe, is graduating from a fixed to a growth mindset. And if you can graduate from a growth to a beginner's mindset, there's nothing that you can't succeed with. It's nothing. Everything is at your fingertips now. It's how bad do you want it? What is the work that you're willing to put in to figure it out? And if I can do these things, then, other people can too. It's just how I deliver it. I'm still learning how to package things. I'm intense. I'm overbearing at times. I talk a lot. Some of these things I'm really trying to work through. But if the message comes across right, I believe that my message can change the world. And it could change the world because of this one thing. It's because that if everybody can develop a growth mindset, you can understand compassion better then. You can understand empathy. Leadership skills are compassion, empathy, and the real you. People want to really work hard to play offense. And if you can play defense, like you're familiar with Mr. Miyagi, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, wax on, wax off, up, down, dude. He didn't. There's no sparring. There's no like. It was all like katakana. Just like katakana is actually the English version of Japanese. No, what I'm thinking is like like the forms, the karate.
Yeah, you're talking about like kata
form.
Yeah, like doing like kata tyokos. Like I know I do a kata. Yeah.
Katas. That's what they're called.
Katas.
Katakana is the way English is written in phonetically in Japanese. But kata is going to be, and that's what he was doing. What was he doing? He was becoming the defensive player of the year. That's what he was doing. And then he wins the All Valley tournament. So that's my goal for the world, is that if you can take time to understand mindfulness, to be aware of yourself, to be aware of others, show compassion to yourself and empathy to yourself, not judge yourself so you don't judge others, then you can be the best version of yourself. And you can go from a place where you were getting beat up by people at school to becoming the All Valley champion. But we can't goal to be the goal is the All Valley champion. I get that, to win the tournament. I get that. But the process isn't like how strong can I kick? How fast can I move? And how quick can I punch? It's what can I not do? What is holding me back? What is the limitation I'm placing on myself? This is leadership made simple, right? The real you is who you are. Do you have compassion and empathy for yourself? Do you judge yourself? That's it. That's leadership skills in my mind. And when all of these unfold, there's nothing left to do. Because when you see me 5 a.m. to 5 a.m., I lead by example. I don't say much. I just do everything. I don't say anything. I just do it all.
Yeah, that's incredible, because I know a lot of people, they have these battles internally, and somebody like to be willing to step up and say, yeah, this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing. And it's, I think John Maxwell say, leaders know the way, go the way, and show the way. And you're definitely showing us the way. And if anybody's listening to this message, and especially my entrepreneurs, man, I get questions all the time about people. They want to know and discover their why. They want to know their why, because I tell people all the time, your why is what, and this is something that I learned, right? Your why is what's going to form you. Your why is what's going to transform you. Your why is what your message is, what your business is. And a lot of times the why it comes from pain. And it sounds like for you, you've made your pain into your purpose, and your purpose is serving people that have gone through the things that you have gone through. And that's the same thing. That's the same thing with me, brother. It's like, I want people to feel included. I want people to feel love. I want to inspire people to dream. And not only just to dream, I want to inspire people to act. I don't care how I do it. If it's a podcast, if it's stepping on a stage, if it's just me going out in the hallway here and seeing somebody down and just saying, dude, like, what are you doing? Lift your chin up. Freaking get to work. Let's do it. Don't give up on yourself. And that's because that's coming from a place of pain that I had. So this is, dude, you've given a masterclass on the why, and I'm glad that we're having this discussion, because it's almost like an affirmation for me myself that I'm learning from you, and just kind of digging down into that why. So I want to tell you, and thank you for being so like precise and bringing that to full circle for me, man. I'm learning a lot from you, bro. Mm.
Yeah, likewise. The way you've, there's, we might as well say, you coached me, you're my coach. And I've learned a lot from you as well. And, it's important to inspire from every situation.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Definitely. It's one of those things I think about all the time, the situation that you're in, especially if you're down, even if you're up, it doesn't define who you are, because the seasons change, the moments turn, it refines you. And it sounds like you're really refined, man. The speaking thing, since you brought it up, man, I'm excited about the stages that you're going to touch. You're doing some crazy stuff. You've been on some stages with some legends. I know you were on stage with Tech9 doing your rapping thing. And tell me a little bit about what you're going to do and what the plans are as far as speaking, man. I want the world to know my buddy DhruvaMD, man.
Yeah. So, thanks for acknowledge and helping me through my journey as well. So I want to acknowledge that. But with Tech9, I toured with his label. I was on the Edge of Reality tour with his record label, and Joey Cool. I opened up for Joey Cool, and JL was supposed to be at one of the concerts, but he didn't. He missed his flight. But I was on tour with them. I was blessed to open up with some local rappers, and man, it's dope. Yeah, and I did some speaking in between that. So that's one thing. The second thing, man, is that I really want to be able to go and I want to be able to touch anybody that I can, and just say, look, like, you have the power within you to decrease stress. You can be happy with who you are. You can believe to empower yourself. You can believe to empower people who you know. You can unleash all of this potential that's within you that you thought was a limit. People that think that things are bad, I want to be able to help others understand that what you think is bad can be used to your advantage. And, this can come with healing the mind. Instead of saying things are like a disease or disorder or a problem or my anxiety, I have depression, let's utilize all of these to my advantage. Let's take an example of me going to a stop sign. Let's say I go to a stop sign, right? And I'm like, bro, let's just see what happens. I'm just maybe I'll run the stop sign today. Let's just see I might get in an accident. If I do, who cares? I got insurance anyways. I'm not anxious. No, I am worried. I am anxious. So I'm going to stop at the stop sign. What is that? That's my intelligence. That's my intelligence working for me. My intelligence is working for me. Well, other people would say, I'm anxious to drive. No, I'm using my intelligence, so I'm going to stop at the stop sign. And if we can think about life like that, like if we can use that stop sign example and think about that, then, I think that we can channel all of this energy that we think is bad. And, I'm a doctor too, so that also provides this whole other element to it that, I don't believe in some of these things like, oh, you have anxiety. No, there's something beneath that. Let's figure that out. Let's uncover that. And let's take that and let's practice some mindful techniques, which I like to call mind hygiene. Let's practice mind hygiene and try to discover what you think is bad and why you think is bad. What makes you think that it's holding you back? And let's use all of that to your advantage, just like I have. So if I can do it, you can too. Kobe Bryant once said, man, Kobe Bryant's like, don't give yourself an excuse. He's like, no. He's like, oh, do you think that you have it all in this? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm taller, but don't give yourself an excuse though.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no excuses. The limits that we place on ourselves are the limits that we place. So, I just wish I want people to be happy, and being happy is compassion without judgment.
Compassion without judgment, even for yourself, right?
Oh, totally.
Especially
That's where it starts. That's where it starts. Yeah. I can never have compassion and empathy for others until I had it for myself. The times I stop judging others is when I stop judging myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so good, dude. That is so good. There's so many of us need to hear that, to live that, to breathe that. As we close, man, I know there's people that listen to this show and they're in certain situations. They got these obstacles in front of them, or obstacles in front of them and in between their goals. As parting words, what can you tell our viewers or listeners, something to inspire them to keep going on their journey and not letting their circumstance be an excuse or a reason why they give up?
Yeah, I would say that the number one thing that I can say to somebody is when you look at somebody, right? When you look at somebody and they're like, they've done this, like somebody looks at me and they're like, you have, come from nothing, right? I was on welfare. I went to jail. I'm a doctor, from being a doctor, I own a home, I have a car, I can buy anything I want food wise. People like, that's success. No, What success was to me was going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. That's success. And when you can apply that to every part of your life, then you'll be successful in anything that you do. And that first starts with growing yourself. I would say the growth mindset is going to be one of the biggest things that I'm proud of for myself. Is not saying that it's just like this. This is it. No limits. It's not just like this. It's the basketball example, right? The basketball example. Can I dunk? No, but I can do a Euro step from the baseline and shoot a floater and still beat you. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to practice that 100,000 times. Bruce Lee, you know what Bruce Lee said? He said that I'm not scared of the person who's done karate, who's done, who went to a karate class 10,000 times. Bruce Lee said he's scared of the person who did the same kick 10,000 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow. I'm not fixed. I said, I can't dunk. I can't beat you. No, I will beat you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on going back. I'm going to do that Euro step. And I'm going to go on the baseline. I'm going to do that floater over you. And I will win. That's the growth mindset.
I will win. So you're going to figure out what it is that you can do it, perfect it, and make it work. And that's how you're going to win. Even if you can't do all the things that everybody else can do. You can only do what you can do. I love that, man.
Yeah, and I hope to, empower others through speaking. I do life coaching and, I rap as well. So, I hope to be able to impact the earth. That's the plan.
I love it, man. The vehicle, it sounds like you got a message. You want to help and heal people. The vehicle it doesn't matter whether you're speaking, whether you're rapping, whether you're inside of a room with patients, man. You're doing some incredible stuff, man. I love you, dude. You're like my brother. I love seeing you grow. I can't wait to see things that you're gonna do, man. You're doing some freaking amazing stuff. Where can our audience, where can they find you? Because I know that they're probably going to be going crazy. They want to get some of that DhruvaMD love, man, because the words that come out of your mouth, man, they're so powerful and inspirational. So I want them to be able to find you.
Yeah, no, that's what's up, man. Yeah, you can find me on DhruvaMD.com. That's DhruvaMD.com. And, with some of the social media stuff, I just kind of started it. It's something that I feel like the message needs to be conveyed. So you can find me on DhruvaMD Inspires, on Instagram and on TikTok. But also to sidetrack, and this might confuse viewers, and maybe you can help me too. Like viewers can help me as well, because, I have this Sublime Shine music, and Sublime Shine is my rap name. And, I have a lot of followers and on my Instagram and TikTok with that. But what my passion is right now is going to be DhruvaMD. It's just like it's like a fun little, transcription of who I am. I'm a doctor and, I just want to be called Dhruva. So yeah, if somebody wants to get in touch with me, you can go on to DhruvaMD.com and you can hit the contact form and we can do a free consult. And, I want to help people. So, if there's a budget that they have, I'll work with that budget because this is my passion. It's my passion, it's my purpose, and it's not a paycheck. It's something that I want to do and put that into organizations as well. So yeah, you can find me on DhruvaMD.com.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. While I close up, you can hang out in our fancy green room and I'll be right back. Fancy green room. Yeah, that was super good. I'm really inspired by DhruvaMD. Our mission, our goal for this show is to bring you people that you could see not only just the prestige or the things that they're doing right now, but they let you know the obstacles that they've had to overcome to get to the point to where they're at today. I really believe in that. I don't think we have enough of that in society. All you see is the Instagram pics, all you see is all these fancy jets and all of this crap, but people don't know, or they won't let you know, or at least it's not common. I don't want to be general. They won't let you know that, they've gone through hell, or even they're going as in the present through hell. Right. And I really believe that we all inspirations, we all have dreams, we all have goals. Right. the vehicle, it does not matter. The mission is that we inspire people so that they can make an impact, so that they can go out in the world and they can infect other people to be inspired enough so that they can fulfill their dreams. Because we know what happens when somebody isn't fulfilling and walking in their purpose and they're walking towards their dream, they're dying. So our viewers, our listeners, like from the bottom of my heart, I want you to take this message to heed. I want you to listen to the story, listen to it over and over again if you have to, because I want you to understand your situation does not define you. It only can refine you. You can only go up from here. You got to keep going. You cannot give up. There's so many of you that you reach out to me and you say, it's so hard. I can't do it anymore. You make it look easy. It's not easy for me. I do this show. I started this show to talk to people like DhruvaMD because it's not easy. I get inspiration every single freaking episode. It makes me that much better. And that's why I'm here. And I know that that's why you're here too. And we're going to continue to bring you these powerful shows from these powerful people in our communities, people from around the world. And I want to tell you, thank you so much for the love and the support that you've been giving us. Like we just started a year ago and we've reached the top 5% of the world. That means so much to me, not because of the number, not because of the sponsors, not because of any of that, but that it inspires me to know that we're doing something that's inspiring people to live their freaking dreams. Like that freaking makes me want to wake up every single morning. And that is why we are here. I'll see you later. This episode was brought to you by speakuniversity.org. Go to speakuniversity.org. Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.